G'day everyone, it's Turbo Tristan. Welcome back to the channel. It's been quite a while. In today's video, we have a beautiful lip kit, which you'll never guess which car that is from. I plumb up the electric AC and the condenser and all the fittings and everything, and I show you how to do those at home. And I also sort out and finalize the electric power steering on this car. There's heaps and heaps in this video, so stick around and see what we get up to. Previously, I had this condenser mounted on the front and it was looking great. It was up here off to the side. I had one little bracket and it was fantastic. But this one was pretty beat up and I wanted to change it out for a premium one, being that this is a premium build and my first time doing this, so I wanted it all to be perfect. This one is now gone away for the time being. And I reached out to the guys at T7 and I noticed they had a kit which came with a fan shroud and a fan. So I decided to order that one in its replacement. The reason why I had to really change this is because the way I mounted this, I had the smaller fitting at the top and the larger fitting at the bottom. Now this is high pressure, this is low pressure. And what the guys mentioned to me, which is something I totally overlooked, was the low pressure, you don't want any condensation through the condenser to fall down with gravity and pool up and fill the bottom of the core. That way, if it comes in the top, goes down to the bottom, gravity fills the core. This is the high pressure side, so it's going to pressurize here and push everything out the bottom. So this core is quite a lot smaller than the new one. There's around 50 mil difference there in height. So I've had to trim a little bit away from just under here, but not the end of the world, just to fit this in. But that will mean we'll get even colder aircon. So that's exactly what the customer wants in their Resto mod, the coldest possible aircon. So that's why we've gone with the bigger core and the fan shroud with the front mounted fan. Is going to be a push fan pushing through. So I need to remake some brackets to mount that up. But one thing I'm going to do, which is going to be a real shame, and I want to make this very, very clear, this design here from T7 is absolutely perfect. Fan shroud. I'm going to do a silly thing and just trim the top off here, which is going to give me another almost 10 mil of clearance just there in the top. I'll leave the bottom one on just as a little bash plate. But I'm just going to trim this one away to make it fit even better. Alrighty, so here we have the front of the car, and I just wanted to take a moment to show off how I've remounted the power steering cooler. This is the OEM one, but I've flipped it and flipped it upside down so it flicks behind the rad support there, giving us plenty of room to go back to the electric power steering. Now here is a whole bunch of parts that come with the kit. So this is a bracket for the receiver dryer. However, I'm using the original one because I'm going to mount it in the original place. It is a little smaller than the factory one, so I've wrapped some silicone around there just to help it stay in place, and I've marked it with an arrow with a direction on which the flow must go. And it's going to live just over here in the original spot, right between the washer bottle and the overflow bottle. So we're not doing anything crazy here. That's just using the standard positions. Here you can see I've mounted it, and there's where the fittings are going to come out. There is plenty of gap for the hoses to run around and up and around. Plenty of clearance. It is rubber hose, so it is flexible, and those swivels, you can mount them in any orientation you like, and as you can see, the washer bottle and the overflow bottle fit perfectly in their OEM positions. And all of this for a really nice, neat install that's going to look OEM plus, which is what we were going for the entire time. So happy with how this is turning out. It's been a little while since I've picked up the camera, but we are on the home stretch now for the FN2 Type R swapped ED Civic. And I'm just at the stage where I'm starting to do the air conditioning lines. Now these lines and this kit is a T7 product. So they supply the condenser core, the receiver dryer, all of the dash fittings, the electric AC pump, all the hose and all the clamps. I've made my first line, and that is from the receiver dryer down here, up and around and into the cabin. And here we have the really awesome charge port, which is all billet, and dash fittings all anodized in black. This one we are running a 45, and this is a straight port. Now we still have all of the wiring to do, but I'm just making sure all of the lines are done first. And to make this fit here, I had to just use the heat gun and heat up the washer, window washer bottle, and just give that a little massage to give myself some clearance. Heaps has changed. So I'm gonna make the other dash 6 line, which is gonna go from the core up here, through that gap there, and into the receiver dryer. Now to do that, we're going to take the fitting from T7, there it is there. We've got some of the AC line, and we have these clamps and this little cage here. And all you need to make these aircon lines, and they can be custom on any car, you can use these fittings and this hose and this tool to make aircon lines custom for any car. So if you're relocating something or doing a swap, you can buy just these fittings, and they'll be on the spoolup.com.au website very soon. But to do that, I'm just going to set the camera down, and I'm going to show you one end of this hose, and then we'll measure it up in the car to the core. Alrighty, so I'm sitting down at my bench. It's a bit weird setup, but we're going to make do. We have the line. Now this is AC rated line, and it's rated for the pressure of AC, and this is the dash 6 size, so this is the high pressure size. What we're going to do is throw on these little clamps. So you need 2 of those. Just move those out of the road, take the fitting, use some lube. In this case I'm just using some silicone spray. And don't be fooled by how simple and easy this slides in. So that just goes in there. You can just push that in all the way with one hand. Take this little cage, slide that on in whatever orientation you want, and then it's just a matter of sliding these clips over the cage. Now there's 2 bumps, so there's one, like so, and then the other one. So that goes on there nice and loose. Now just make sure everything's straight. Take your pliers. I'm going to do one, and then I'll match the other one to it so that it looks uniform. And then that clips over there like so. So you can see that little tooth, it sort of goes over like this, and then when it goes over, it locks in, so it pulls against itself. It's really, really tight. Hopefully you get what I mean. Now for the other one, I'm just going to line that up as well. And there we go. That is on super duper tight. And I tried, once I clamped this down and tightened it on to the other fitting in the car, I could not twist this hose, not even twisting it. So the next thing you need to do is take your O-ring, put it in the end there, so that's got a nice seal. And then you can fit that onto the section that you need, measure it out and cut to length. So I'm going to do that over on the car now, just to the next couple of fittings that I need to get done. And then that is one side all buttoned up. So that's the high pressure side, which is the small line, all buttoned up. It could not be easier. Anyone can do this at home. And you can do it on any car. Even if you have a stock standard car and something's happened, you've cut, split or burst a line, you can just buy a length of the hose, the fittings, and then just replace that over. They're all a standard size. So you just need to know whether it's the smaller high pressure side or the larger low pressure side, or in between the pump and the condenser side. So There's -10, -8 and -6 sizes in these hoses. Time to get this over on the car, and I will show you once I've completed this section of line. So I just wanted to talk a second about these charge ports. Now this is very, very important. I almost forgot to add these. This is how you get the gas into the system. Now T7 Design make this really awesome piece. There's a big one and a small one for the charge and the return, so you can make sure you balance it out when you're filling it up with gas and bleed the system properly. You need an in and an out, and they both have charge ports, and that is so you can bleed the system properly. Really cool little billet, and there's the standard charge port fitting, and this makes it really, really easy. So these are mounted nice and easy access right up against the firewall. You can just lean straight in with the tools. A lot of cars, they have one on one side, one on the other, and everything goes around, and this is in one easy location on this particular car, so nice and simple. Of course, you can run these anywhere. You can run them straight out of the compressor, straight out of the condenser, I suppose. It's in the name. They are charge ports, so I guess you can charge them from anywhere. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. Yeah, this is the last engine bay line, and then I've just got to run one more line from the pressurized side of the compressor to the condenser. So then I'm almost done. This is really, really simple. Once I figured out the mounting was the most difficult part. Where am I going to fit everything and how am I going to make the brackets? Once you do that, making the lines is literally, if I didn't have to film, it'd be like a half an hour job. But yeah, last one, again, cage goes on the end, and you can see that's how that goes there. And then these slide over here like so, and then you crimp them down, and it basically bites into the hose and secures it over those ridges. It cannot go anywhere. I can't stress enough. I'm sure you're concerned about it. I know I was too, but these are so tight once they're on there. It blows my mind how much force and crimping force these have. And I've seen plenty of people use them online. I did some research before I went down this route, and yeah, it all works fine. So really, really simple to do. So I'm gonna get this one on, and that's that job done. So gee, this has been a long project, and the electrical and the AC stuff was the bit that really scared me, and now that I've done it, it's super easy. Proud moment, check this out. So we've got the thermofan mounted up, and we have the high pressure line out at the bottom. So up here, it's currently hidden, but I'm gonna make that line next, which is the low pressure side, which is gonna be one hose coming from back here, running around. It's gonna go through this hole and then back in behind the condenser, between the radiator and the condenser, and then come into this 180 fitting, tucked away nicely. It's going to run behind there. So it's going to be fun to get tools in there, but once that's in, that is never coming out, and that is how it's going to stay. But let's check out this line, the one that's already done. So -6 out of the bottom into the high pressure line. I've used a RACEWORKS little clamp here, so rubber insulated, and that is going to go around and over the brackets here where the front bar goes on. Goes through there, and you can see that right there is the receiver dryer. Out of that to a 45, loops up and around, and then into the cabin to pressurize the AC and make everything nice and chilly. At the moment, it still looks a little bit ugly because we haven't had Ollie around to just tidy up this wiring. We'll move this and tuck it and run that under the bar or somewhere out of the road where you're not going to see it. So this is all going to move, or at least be neatened away. We've got cooling on the car. So one awesome thing is with the new Sirocco radiator, I've had Maddie from Next Level Fab weld on a little shroud for the thermofan. Ollie's got to come and wire that in, and we've modified it so that it has a 90 at the base, runs up to a bit of straight silicon, and then another 90 into the T7 swivel housing. I had to get that one to give it a slight bit of a twist to make everything line up. So here's the rad from underneath the car, and you can see the modifications we've made here by cutting that and putting a 90 on, little support bracket just because, welded on the little plates for the fan shroud, and then it's just straight silicon. I actually hacked up the silicon pipes I got from ELUSIVE, put a 45-degree elbow, bead rolled both ends, and then a little 45 bend there up to the T7 swivel neck housing. That is another job ticked off the list. We are so close to getting this thing running and driving. Yeah, so stoked, so stoked. All we're waiting on now is the top hose. So that's gonna go along here and then sort of have a little kick up so it's level with this right here. And then I've also got a RACEWORKS filler cap, which is gonna live here. It's gonna be the highest point. It's gonna be nice to bleed the system on the car. And I've ran the heater lines. So these are the heater lines. At the moment, I don't have a solution for actuating this valve to open and close the heater core. On a hot day, I guess you close that off so it's not heating up the core inside, and on a cold day, you open that up so the engine temp goes in and heats up the heater core. So it's just a matter of whatever the weather's like, open the bonnet once, turn that on or off, and you're done. I managed to use a piece of pipe from basically another spare one of these lines. So that's this section here. I've just cut it, bead rolled it, and used some of the silicon hose to join that up. And I've heat sheathed the bottom section close to the headers. But that is all mint and done. So it's top radiator hose and finish the AC lines, and mechanically my job here is done. It's just a matter of buttoning it up with the wiring, making everything neat and tidy, bleed the brakes, bleed the clutch, and get the car tuned. So very, very exciting. We are almost there on the home stretch. The power steering is done. I'm not sure if I mentioned that yet. So much has been happening off camera, but I managed to flip and utilize the factory power steering cooler and just use these little standoffs here, which is M6 male and M6 female on one end, just to give that some space. We're running straight into the Astra power steering pump. So it's going, before it goes into the pump, it is being cooled and then cooled straight into the pump with a fluid, genuine Honda fluid. And then I went down to PROTEX, as you can see there, and I made a line that goes all the way down, and I'll show you what that looks like under the car. So here's probably a better angle. You can see the lines going to the power steering cooler, the power steering pump, and the bracket. And I've wrapped these hoses in another section of hose just so it protects it against this metal here from rubbing. And that runs along the top here, over and down. And because this is down under the car, I've heat sheathed it with the RACEWORKS fireproof sleeve. Now this silicon sheathing is actually fireproof. So we've got the high pressure in, low pressure out, and then that is all done there for that part of the power steering. So that's one job ticked off. I have tested it, it is nice and light. So yeah, job's done there. I am proud to say that the AC is now done as far as the mechanical side of it goes. So the plumbing is all done, the mounting, the fabrication for the AC is done. So I'm super stoked about that. The thing that I'm not stoked about, but it's not really my issue, it's an issue for my buddy Ollie, who is electrical engineer and wiring guru. He's going to come and play with this and give this power and make this all run. But we have the high pressure side pipe all done and the low pressure side pipe done, tightened all down, and that looks absolutely mint. And I've test fitted the front bar. It fits absolutely perfectly. And the only modification that I needed to make to the bumper to make everything fit was just a very small notch out of here. Didn't go past that body line, which is the bit that tucks under this lip here. So that is all still perfectly intact. And really it's just to clear the thermo fan on the front. There will be a full standalone video about electric AC coming up in the future on the channel. We'll do that separately because I know a lot of people, hot rodders, caravan people, four-wheel drive people, you know, even the D-series guys that have to delete AC to run the nice big turbos, drag guys that want interchillers or to cool their intercooler, water-to-air intercooler systems down. This AC system will work on all of those applications. So there'll be a standalone video for that later on. But let's just trace what we've done. So we've mounted the T7 Designs electronic or electric AC compressor here. And we've mounted that on a stainless steel pressed and laser cut. And the bracket was made by my buddy Mark at CircuitWorX. He knocked that up for me. I sent him this, so he has the template. We will talk to him in future about maybe getting some of these made in a batch, and I can sell them with the kits. From the compressor, we come out of the compressor in the what's soon to be the high pressure line. So this is the pressure side that snakes through here, through this already made hole, and then in between the radiator and the condenser core. In the top, any condensation is going to run to the bottom, and by the time it gets to the bottom, the refrigerant is pressurized. That pushes up through here, through the -6 line, and then here into the receiver dryer. From the receiver dryer, which we still need to wire up, it goes through here. Now it's high pressurized refrigerant, and then it goes into the cabin through past this charge port here, which is a beautiful billet piece from T7, and it's got these really nice lids on it so you don't have those blue or grey caps in your engine bay. Into the cabin, through all of your heating and cooling system, and then out as low pressure. Once it's done its job, comes out as a low pressure -10, runs through here, down and under the car. And you can see here I've secured that line along this traction bar. And you're probably thinking, why would you do that? But this is the pretty much strongest part of the car underneath here, and it's up out of the road, so no worries there. I'm not concerned about it at all. And it even has this little handy loop where that runs through and then back into the compressor as low pressure gas to be pressurized again and put through the system, cooling it with this fan shroud and SPAL push thermo fan. So that's going to be pushing air through, as well as the actual cold air hitting it and then forcing it through into the radiator. The radiator has a suck fan, which is going to suck air through as well. My part is done, except for one top radiator hose, which I mentioned earlier. We're going to get that on, and I have some extra fittings here somewhere. And to make that, we've got the RACEWORKS billet alloy radiator cap and alloy radiator neck filler. Just need to get those welded onto some pipe over here. That's going to live somewhere there. That nice RACEWORKS cap, nice and high, higher than the top hose there. Should make it nice and simple for bleeding, and just be a little screw there, and I'll make a alloy pipe that goes down and meets this top hose. Once that's good, I can fill it up, run the engine to temp, test everything, check everything, and then get it going and take it off to the dyno for a tune. And let's see what we can make in this bad boy. But that's not it. There is one more thing for me to do in this video, which is make it look cool. So I'm going to slap the bumper on and I'll show you what we've got lined up for this thing. It's going to look sick. I'm really, really keen for this, so stand by. The next thing we need to do is make this thing look pretty cool in the front, and the way we're going to do that is via a lip kit. And the reason we need to do that is because we've got this big underhang here. There's no lip. This sticks out like a sore thumb. And then we've got this part here, which I've had to trim to clear the condenser. So we're going to put a lip on here. Now it's going to be quite a big lip. And we're actually going to put a Volkswagen Golf lip on this car. Now I've only seen this a couple of times on the internet, once in America, once in Australia. This is the lip just here. It comes in 2 pieces. And surprisingly, it fits basically exactly under the bumper here. So Check this out. That bolts on there, goes around in 2 pieces, extremely hard to hold on to with one hand, but that, you get the gist, goes on there like so. There's a cool little accent there in the middle. It even lines up with the grill there as well, so that's actually perfect. I saw someone post this online. I asked them heaps of questions, I annoyed them, and they told me it's a VW Golf Mark III VR6 lip kit. So in Germany, Volkswagen Golfs and even in other parts of the world, they came with a V6, VR6. So that's what this lip is, off a Mark III. So if you want one, that's what you got to look for. Don't ask me to link it, just Google Mark III Golf VR6 lip. That's what you get. 2 pieces, not very expensive, under 200 bucks plus shipping, and it will go straight on your ED Civic and look sick. So it's very hard to do with one hand, let alone 2 hands. So I'm going to put the camera down, take the bar back off again, and really get to work securing this thing on there so it's absolutely perfect. And that's another thing done to buttoning this up to the ultimate Resto mod street car. This thing is going to be so sick. All right, here it is all fitted up. And as you can see, it fits like OEM, like it was meant to be there. The only thing that's slightly different is just each end. There is like a 10mm gap there, which I could trim that around to make it sort of curve around, or I could just trim it straight down. But I'll check with the owner. Everything else about it fits absolutely perfectly. One thing that I really love is this little accent here, this little divot. Has the same sort of curve up as this. It's almost the same, not quite, but very, very close. And that matches with there. The middle of this, where it joins, comes in 2 pieces, lines up exactly with the middle of this. And all the way around. If I wanted to be like the RWB Porsche guy, I could tape it off and put a little bit of silicone along there and smooth that and just really make it sweet, which, you know, could do that down the track. But I'm going to throw this on there just for looks. I can't button it all up yet because we need to pull the bumper on and off a few more times to do all the wiring. It's just going to get in the road. We've got to tuck everything. We're going to run all those wires out of the road. But I'm going to put this on and I'm going to put everything on the car, close the bonnet and wheel it outside because I want to get a look at this thing with this lip on. This is so sick. So I've moved it over into the other shed so I can get a better look at it on the ground, on level ground. Let's go take a look. Don't worry about Ronda, video coming soon. Don't worry about that. You're going to see more of that later on. Just don't worry about that. Check out the stealthy AC. You can just see the cooler through there. People are going to be thinking this thing is supercharged or turbo or something. It's going to be that quick and that light. Nobody's going to know what the heck hit them. That lip, in my opinion, is absolutely perfect. Check it out from all angles. Once we tidy up that wiring, I've got some new surprises for the interior, which are going in soon. And then just like I mentioned before, that radiator hose, and we are ready to go to the dyno. That is going to be it for this video. Absolutely chuffed with how everything's turned out. The power steering, the AC, and of course the front lip. It is really, really coming together. The whole OEM plus look, feel, theme that we're going for, absolutely nailed it. Sometimes I impress myself. I feel like I knocked it out of the park on this one. These T7 lines for the AC are absolutely amazing. Can't believe how simple and quick and easy these are to make and do. I love the simplicity of the AC and how easy it will be to service. Just pull up right here and you have access to the recharge and discharge ports right there on those fittings from T7 Designs. And if you don't even really notice it's got any of that stuff there, it's just sort of hidden away amongst all the other stuff. Once we clear out this wiring and tidy this up, like we've still got the Ollie back to fix all this. He's got to fix up this and hide that, and do something with this, and also plug in the AC and also the pressure sensor there. But now we're on the home straight. I can smell victory. I can smell the end of this project. We are so close. But until next time, don't forget to spool up, bring the boost, and we'll see you in the next video. Cheers.